Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is something I'm doing quite new. I haven't done this before, but I thought I would give my hand at trying it. A friend of mine, well, a couple of friends of mine on YouTube do this thing called tier lists, and I haven't done one yet because I don't really do film tier lists because my content mostly does Netflix original content and Amazon content, streaming service content. But now that we've finished Jessica Jones season 3, I thought I would do a kind of tier list of what I think was from the worst to the best. Not that there's anything awful, because I thought this would be the perfect thing to do a tier list for what I thought was the best and what I thought was the worst. But to break it down, I need a fun kind of a ranking system from best to worst. And so I'm going to give you my breakdown list of what I think is great from the top and then not so great from the bottom. So at the top we've got fantastically awesome, then we've got awesome sauce, and then we've got pretty darn cool, coolio, it'll do, I'm disappointed in you, doo-doo, and of course we're going to fling poo at them. And so of course we're going to fling poo at them harks back to one of my original favorite one of my favorite DreamWorks shows with Madagascar, where the monkeys in that is like, of course we're going to fling poo at them.
If you have any poo, fling it now.
And so that way I've discovered that as being the worst you can have. If it's so bad, you need to fling poo at it. So starting with the OG that started off the Netflix Marvel collaboration, we've got Daredevil himself. And I think this was the perfect way to kick it off. If you're going to start something well, you should start something strong. And that original season with Murdoch introducing those characters, I thought that first season was amazing, mostly because of the bad guy, the Wilson Fisk. That character was so well defined. Your good guy can only ever be as good as your bad guy. He kind of represents, if he has to go something up against something quite formidable, then your bad guy needs to be super strong. And I just loved seeing them on screen together. And for me, because of everything that worked, just the culmination of a perfect season, Daredevil Season 1 is going in fantastically awesome. Sticking with Daredevil, Season 2, I think Season 2 and 3 for me I'm going to place in awesome sauce. Because they're not quite as good as that first original kind of helping that we got. But Season 2 and 3 I thought were equally as good as each other, but for different reasons. Season 3, we had this amazing new bad guy, the Bullseye character, which we saw being defined throughout the series. But it did take a while to get there from Season 3. The first 5 episodes in Season 3, it took a while to get there, and then we had that Bullseye character come into fruition. And when they were on screen together, it was amazing. Season 2 for me had some of the best damn fight choreographed scenes I've ever seen on TV, period, and it's quite strong. There are those hallway scenes where it's just getting brutal and bloody and really violent, but it works to develop character story as well. Whenever you had a series where character development is defined through fighting, and so that's why they stick together for me, Season 2 and 3 in awesome sauce. And so that wraps up the Daredevil. So next I'm going to go with my next fantastically awesome series, which I thought for me was Jessica Jones. Again, going back to your bad guys need to be really good, and for me David Tennant personifies bad guy. He was Kilgrave and he was fantastic. Jessica Jones playing off against Kilgrave, for me this is almost better than Daredevil Season 1. Not quite, I think they're on equal terms excellent, so that is for me the kind of the standard, so it goes in fantastically awesome. Jessica Jones Season 2 stepped down quite a bit for me. The pacing of it was slow, they went off on tangents of side characters. It was still good, but from that initial first season, which I just thought was amazing, it really kind of drops a couple of levels. It's still good, so I'm going to put it in Coolio, like Gangsta's Paradise is Coolio, yo. But Season 3, I thought again, it came back. I really liked what they did with Season 3 for Jessica Jones. I thought this could be what we could have in the future for subsequent series if we're going to get any, but we're not. They really seem to find their flow and their pace for this whole series, and I was really enjoying when it came to the latter half of Season 3. I thought, wow, they found a really good way to show the buddy cop system, the way that she is working with her team now, what she's doing. She's come into her own as a PI. The whole score and everything just worked really well, and so I thought, wow, that was almost as good as its initial season. Not quite though, so Jessica Jones Season 3 goes in pretty darn cool. Next up, we have Luke Cage. I really like what they did with this. It was a different feel, a different tone for what we were getting in these Marvel Netflix series. But at the same time, because it was fresh and it was different, I thought they played this really well. For me, it didn't quite have that pace or that pacing that Jessica Jones season 1 and Daredevil had. It was much slower, much more reserved. When you did have action sequences, it was different, more hard-hitting. It took me a while to be invested into the Luke Cage character. I still really enjoyed it, so I'm gonna put him in pretty darn cool, because it was cool. The one thing that you came away thinking, oh wow, that was cool. And so it's going in pretty darn cool. Luke Cage season 2 I thought had good flow. I thought the bad guy was good, but again, some of these seasons I feel like could have been shorter. The 13 episodes are sometimes too long. Sometimes they take too long to get their story across. Where this one was 13, it could have been 10. And the same could be said about certain other seasons, which I'm going to get to. But for now, I'm going to put season 2 of Luke Cage in Coolio. And now we're coming to Iron Fist. I was, as you can see by the shirt, I was one of the people that actually enjoyed Iron Fist season 1, although I did know it wasn't great. I'm just a big fan of him from the comics. Maybe I'm a little bit too invested in the character. So when it comes to Iron Fist, I kind of bought into the storyline that was very similar to the Arrow, and I was hoping that we were going to get more and they were going to do more with the character. So I am fully aware that I like this more than others, but at the same time I was aware of how not great it was. It wasn't defined as well as the other characters. So I've put season 1 in It Will Do. Season 2 of Iron Fist I thought actually got better. The only thing I didn't like towards the end of season 2 of Iron Fist was that everybody was getting Iron Fist. You get an Iron Fist, you get an Iron Fist, you get an Iron Fist. And I thought it could have been an interesting tactic, I guess, to go that way, but at the same time to leave it on the ending like that and not have any more, it's a bit weird. I wasn't sure I was liking where those characters were going. And it definitely strayed from the comics somewhat in that area. They kind of put a whole bunch together and made it work for that series. So I do think it was better than season 1. So I'm putting it with Coolio. So it's Coolio, Luke Cage season 2, Jessica Jones season 2, Iron Fist season 2. All the season 2s it would seem. And then lastly, Defenders. Defenders goes in I'm disappointed in you. And I think as a whole, most people would agree with me that they were disappointed in this. This should have been the culmination of all the heroes together and made it look really great. For only having 6 episodes, they should have jumped straight into it. Instead, they took 2 episodes to kind of introduce those characters to each other, and nothing really happened. And then you had 4 episodes with Sigourney Weaver as the protagonist bad guy, and it didn't really work. There was no sort of flow. It was fun to see them together, but the storyline was so weak that there was nothing there for the actors to work with, and the script was quite weak as well. So unfortunately, it didn't work. So that's my wrap up of the tier list. Let me know your tier list below. Did you think I got it completely wrong? Let me know if you've enjoyed this tier list and if you would like more similar things to this on Netflix. There are a few seasons and series now that have multiple seasons, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, some of them. If you'd like to see more of those, let me know in the comments below. But most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday! Not sure I can keep going with that.